All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I am really excited to talk about one of my absolute favorite subjects, the business of photography. And for many of you guys out there, that is one of the most challenging things that all photographers don't even want to talk about. They don't even want to think about the business. They want to just think about taking pictures, right? We want to think about, hey, we want just people to call us up or email us out of the blue and just hire us to do those epic photo shoots. But unfortunately, that's not the era in which we live in. In photography, no matter what kind of photography you do, whether you're in portraits, whether you're in advertising photography, whether you shoot celebrities or architectural, industrial, commercial, lifestyle, landscape photography, travel photography, the hardest part is the business of photography, the marketing side, how to maximize profitability, how to be a profitable photographer, how to make money and actually do this as a career. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today in depth. And I'm so excited that all of you guys joined us. This is going to be one of the largest webinars we've had in several months because it's such an important topic. And I know a lot of photographers have been asking us about this. We consult with photographers all the time. We're always guiding photographers. We're giving them all kinds of advice and guidance with all my team of photographic business consultants, photographic strategists, and we're here to help you guys. And it's really important to us that you succeed. So I'm Kevin Michael Schmitz. I'm a celebrity fashion advertising photographer. I'm a TV director, executive producer of the TV show Great Escapes that airs on NBC and the CW. But my entire career is all about photography and production. Now, I've had an amazing opportunity to have my bachelor's and my MFA to be a professor of photography, so I can discuss the discourse of photography and really talk about the theoretical aspects of image making and the conceptual side, fine art photography and landscape photography and such. But really, the business of photography is the most important thing. And that's why when I started out in my photographic career, I had to kind of do it the hard way. I just hit the ground running. And I came out of grad school in, I think it was like 2009. And I literally came out with over $100,000 in debt. I had no financial help. I had nothing to my name. And I had no family or friend support. I didn't know anyone in Southern California because I'm a little hometown boy from rural West Michigan of a little village of 2,000 people. So I came from nowhere. And many of you guys are the same. But you know what? I totally burned the boats. I moved down here to Los Angeles and I just hit the ground running and I started hustling. And I started making a name for myself, making a business out of nowhere and nothing. I didn't have a studio. I didn't have huge amounts of equipment. I didn't have, the fanciest, newest cameras. I didn't have all the expensive pro photo lighting equipment. I didn't have anything. But I made my business happen. And I've been very fortunate that for all these years, I've had a lot of success. I've shot ad campaigns for Levi's, Smirnoff, Miller Lite, Coors Light, Zara, Unice. I've shot some major opportunities. And I've also been, had the opportunity to be on television and also be featured photographing. And I was actually in episodes of my show that features me actually doing photo shoots and stuff as well, hanging out of helicopters, shooting in on camels in Abu Dhabi to underwater in Bora Bora and the Maldives. But some of the greatest experiences I've had are photographing large-scale productions on advertising campaigns and making huge amounts of money doing it. And I want to talk a little bit about all facets of the business of photography today. And I know a lot of you guys are also consumer photographers and you just never even consider shooting advertising. And that's totally cool. The strategies we're going to talk about today are going to be really helpful for consumer photographers just as much as commercial photographers and fine art, landscape, photojournalists, and all different levels of photography. So, I first of all, I'd like to know what kind of photography are you doing? What type of industry are you in? And I always like to find this out right when I start one of these webinars. So I just launched a poll and I'd love for you guys to respond and tell me about that. Tell me about, what type of photography do you guys do? What gets you excited? What do you currently do? And also maybe what type of photography do you want to do? So if you shoot maybe consumer and weddings and portraits, but you really want to shoot fashion or swim or something like that, hey, that's totally cool. I'd love to hear all about it. I'd love to hear about it. But I want to hear from you guys because it's important, and I'm going to be answering a ton of questions today. I'm also going to bring on my professional production coordinator. I'm going to be bringing on amazing photographic business strategists and consultants that are going to be guiding you guys, and that are going to be helping you. We're also going to be talking about not only photography, but also what's really critical for all photographers, how to make money in video production as well, including drone photography, including shooting stuff for real estate, etc. So so if you guys are into any of that, I'd love for you guys to to let me know what type of photography you're doing. And I'm going to be asking you guys a lot of questions because I want this to be as interactive as possible. And we've done, this is probably like our 15th webinar we've done this year, and it's been absolutely incredible, the response that we've had. And most importantly, you guys, is the success of the photographers that have attended these webinars and the success of the photographers who have also enrolled in the Photography Workshop series. It is absolutely incredible to see what we've been able to achieve, what our photographers have been able to achieve. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Those of you guys out there who have attended the workshops this year, we've done 5 so far, from Newport Beach, shooting high-end lifestyle advertising, to high-end fashion photography in Chicago and lifestyle advertising, high-end fashion, shooting with supermodels from Versace, Giorgio Armani, and Vogue and Vanity Fair in New York. And then also our elite masterclass, shooting at a water studio with horses racing across the water in parachutes, and then also meeting with all these decision makers, bringing in top decision makers from the owner of Flaunt Magazine, Luis Barajas, at the masterclass, to having photography agents like George Perez Reps, who reps the top 1/1000th of 1% of photographers. That's really exciting. And our photographers, the relationships they have built are absolutely spectacular, because it gives them an opportunity for a lifetime of success. We even had one of our attendees of our masterclass met with Wonderland magazine, which is one of the top fashion magazines out of England, and in the celebrity fashion editor, and she hired him on a shoot right after that. So it's pretty sweet to see the success happen like almost overnight sometimes with our photographers. But it definitely is something that is going to take a little bit of time and energy to become a sustained, successful photographer. And that's what I want all of you guys to do, is to really think about, how can I become a sustained high-end photographer at the highest level? What do I need to do for that kind of success? Okay, so I want you guys to share with me your questions. Put them all in the Q&A, not in the chat. But put them in the Q&A, and I'm going to go through Q&A and answer as many questions as possible. And by the way, I'm sharing the results. It looks like, when we're talking about what type of photography industry are you guys in, it looks like the majority of you guys are in portrait photography. Portrait, there's kind of equal between lifestyle and weddings, corporate events, some in fashion. We have a large group from product photography as well. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, that's great. That's helpful for me to know, so that I can know kind of what adapt and what we talk about today that's on there. So that's fantastic. So, one of the things that you guys got to remember is that although right now is an unprecedented time because of COVID and everything, and 2020 has been a crazy year, some photographers have literally buried their head in the sand. They freaked out and they've failed, because they just wanted to hide from it all, and they wanted to bury their head and not actually go out there and make something of themselves. And I know that, it's been a worldwide pandemic and a health crisis, and it's been terrible. It's been very painful for a lot of people. But I do also know huge amounts of photographers that have been immensely successful photographers throughout this process. Ones that have attended our workshops, friends of mine who are photographers. I've had so many people that I know that have taken it to the next level and actually become exceedingly successful in this time. And you know what? I'm going to talk about why. Why are some people more successful than others? Why is it that, we had a photographer, David, who attended 2 of our last workshops in Chicago and New York. And him and his wife booked a $250,000 advertising campaign that they shot last month. And why is it that photographers like Martika Gartman just landed a $25,000 opportunity, like last month? But then some photographers are freaking out and they're not doing anything. That to me, that's frustrating because it tells me that there's a vast difference in the mentality of the photographers. So no matter where you're at, and these photographers are in different cities in the country, from New York City to Chicago, photographers in Los Angeles, Miami, Denver, but I've had photographers successful in all parts of the country. And I've been traveling too. I haven't let it get me down. I've been shooting in Newport Beach, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, New York, Paris, Massy-en-Cambrai. I was in Avignon, France. I was in Switzerland photographing at the Matterhorn in Switzerland and Zermatt. I mean, I've been all over the world over the last 5 months, and it hasn't stopped me, not a step. And I encourage you guys to think like that as well, because going into 2021, we've got a vaccine that's 95% effective. We have a mentality that's shifting. And in 2021, the amount of photographic productions between commercial and also consumer are going to be astronomical because there's been a pent-up demand. There's been a demand over the last year where clients are not able to do their shoot because of a health crisis, because of a fear, because they're worried about, going into quarantine, all different reasons. And now is a time where we can capitalize. So as photographers, I want you to be very aware that 2021 is going to be a very different year. And I can guarantee you, you're going to make more money in 2021 as a photographer than you will in 2020 because of the amount of pent-up demand. Okay, so I want you guys to really look for the future. But the only way that it's going to happen is if we have a defined photographic business strategy. Okay, a plan, not just look at my pictures, let me put up a website and hope people come to it. I want you guys to think about, okay, how do I actually get those people to book me? How do I book more jobs? What do I need in my brand, my photographic brand? Do I need to separate my content, or do I need to stick with one website, multiple websites? What do I do with print promos? Because all these, if you're a commercial photographer, all these clients at ad agencies, art producers, they're not in the office right now. A lot of them are still working remotely. So where do I mail them? Where do I send them? They're not even going to get them. So how can I adapt during this time, an unprecedented time? And should we even be working with ad agencies in the first place? Or should we be switching and doing more client direct if you're a commercial photographer? If you're a consumer photographer, how is that going? Are your clients okay shooting in person? Are they trying to push it back to next year? And I know a lot of wedding photographers, that's been a big challenge for them because of obviously events have become a big challenge. But what if that's the case? If they're pushing it back to next year, how is that going to affect us? And what can we do to maximize profitability on each one of those client shoots? Now, one of the things that I want to really talk about is it all starts with your brand. Okay, your photographic brand. Who are you as a photographer? That's really important, guys. I want you to define who you are as a photographer, because if your clients don't know what type of photographer you are and what your brand is, what makes you unique, what is going to separate you from the herd, okay? I want to know what that is. And I want you to come up with essentially an identity of who you are. I want, even if it's just in one line, it could be in words, it could be in visual imagery, it could even be in a little video story. But for me, I feel like I'm a photographic storyteller, creating timeless art, creating moments, allowing them to unfold and capturing them. And that's how I would define who I am as my brand, Kevin Michael Schmitz Photography. And for me, I'm really aware of this because I want to make sure that my clients know exactly who I am if I'm specifically marketing to a fashion client, for instance, right? So those of you guys who don't know who I am, here's some of my fashion photography. So if I'm going to be marketing my fashion photography with these timeless moments, creating these timeless moments, I want to create a story in my portfolio that is going to wow and dazzle my clients and show impact and completely make my images pop off the screen. That is really important to me. that my images have so much impact that they are popping off the screen, that are like, oh my goodness, it almost looks like a three-dimensional image. I want that to be perceived by my clients, right? So that to me is really, really important. And I want you guys to be very aware of that. So are my images impactful? Are they powerful? Or are they going to pop off of the screen? And so here, images like this is iconic. We're working with, I had a supermodel here, Belena from Vogue. We shot with this parachute at a water studio. It was unbelievable and iconic. And this image ended up getting the cover of Photo Nostra magazine out of Barcelona. And this was actually shot at one of our elite workshops. Adam Friedman shot a version of this that won him the #1 Fashion Photographer of the Year award in one island, which is pretty spectacular. So this is iconic. Images like this for Flaunt magazine, completely iconic. Images that are going to pop off the page. But I also have to think about who are my clients. So if you have content like this, this is not necessarily appropriate for consumer photography. Okay? It's consumer photography if you're shooting portraits or children or babies or something like that. It's just not appropriate. I wouldn't ever send that to this type of client. Not in the least. So I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to send this to fashion brands, fashion magazines, and definitely fashion companies directly and fashion companies represented by ad agencies. That's who I would send this to. And I would send it to the creative directors and the art producers at those companies and ad agencies, or I would send it to the photo editors and fashion editors at the photography magazines. So I want you guys to be really aware of who those decision makers are, right? So I want you guys to really think about that. Okay, so if you're going to contact people in 2021 and you're going to really amp up your photographic business and book more clients, okay, who are the clients? Okay, so remember, at magazines, they're going to be the photo editors and they're going to be the fashion editor. This is pretty easy to find. You can look up any magazine, and you could even go into a Barnes & Noble, and in the masthead, when you open up a magazine, it'll actually show you who the photo editor is, and it'll almost always have their email address. So get that contact information. You can also use Bikini Lists or Agency Access. These are pay-to-play lists where you can get the database of all of those people, their email address or phone number. I have that database of 64,000 decision makers that hire photographers. So that's who I market to. And I'd recommend you guys, do some form of that. It's expensive. It's a pay to play kind of thing, but it can really get you in the door because now you have all that data. If you don't want to pay for that, then what you can do obviously is just research it and find out who these people are. I like using resources like lebook.com to look for the top brands and who's shooting at the highest level. I use Lebook all the time, every day. And it's kind of a resource. You're like, oh, who shot the Versace campaign? Who shot the Vogue editorial? Who shot each one, right? So I want you guys to be very, very aware of your photographic brand. Now, if your photographic brand is not where it needs to be, if it's not iconic, we got to make a change. We got to do something different. We can't just keep doing the same thing. And I know that some of my team has been speaking to photographers over the last week. Since I actually just flew in from France, just from Paris last week, and since then, I mean, we've actually spoken to quite a few photographers, and the thing is that surprisingly enough, a lot of these photographers, their brands weren't there, and they didn't even know how to get there. They were like, "Well, my brand's not right. It's not at the highest level. I haven't been able to shoot this year because of COVID. What do I do? What do I do?" Right? And that's important. Like, okay, well, let's allocate some resources to doing that. So what's going to help my photographic business if I'm going to make an investment in my photographic business? What if I'm going to say allocate $10,000 to $20,000 for 2021? Because I know personally, I spend about $80,000 to $100,000 a year on my development, my marketing, my portfolio development. I attend workshops and seminars myself. I personally develop my portfolio, and I spend probably a lot more than most of you guys, but I would recommend at least $10,000 to $20,000 a year and set that aside or budget it in for your development, for your marketing, for your portfolio, your printed promos, your email marketing using if you use MailChimp, Constant Contact, Active Campaign, MyBizMailer, Infusionsoft. It's not cheap. I spend, I think, $4,000 a year just using Infusionsoft to do email marketing, right? So it's not cheap, but I also send out 1.5 million emails just from that system alone. Okay. So those things are important though. And I want you guys to think about, okay, if I want to make money, I need to allocate my resources appropriately. So I want you guys to definitely think about where you allocate your resources and what kind of budget you're going to invest in yourself to take your business to the next level. Now, what happens is that a lot of times photographers don't spend on themselves. And to me, it's mystifying, because when you don't invest in your photographic portfolio and your marketing and your business, just like any other business, if Facebook or Google started and they had literally no money whatsoever for servers or for coders and stuff like that, the company would never go anywhere. But they needed investment, and they got investment, and they blew up and exploded. But any company out there, I don't care if it's a restaurant, if it's a nail salon, if it's a tech company, if it's a photographer, you need to invest in your business, period. It's not just about, hey, I'm a photographer with a camera, who's going to hire me? A lot of it is going to be about how are you going to market yourself appropriately? So you have to invest in yourself. There's no better use of your money, period. Okay? Renting a studio out, wasting money on equipment, allocating towards, oh, I need the newest camera, the newest lens. There's all this new equipment that comes out all the time, or the newest drone or whatever. No. Does that help you? I had a photographer named Adam Friedman who won the #1 Photographer of the Year award in the One Island Awards from the image that he shot at our masterclass of the Valena with the parachutes and everything. And he came on as a panelist, and he told our entire audience of 400 guests online, and he said, you know what? In all the years he's been shooting, he shoots about 20 to 30 advertising shoots a month. And in all the years he's been doing it, for 20 years, no one has once asked what camera he has. Not once. Nobody cares. The clients don't even know what kind of equipment you have. And you know what? At this time, it's going into 2021 in 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. All the cameras are about the same. So I get this all the time from my photographers that I mentor and coach, and they're talking about, oh, this newest Nikon, this newest Canon, this newest, whatever, Hasselblad. I really don't care. The camera equipment is not going to make you successful, period. So why waste money on it? It's not important. It's honestly not that important. Wasting money on new equipment is probably one of the worst things you can do as a photographer, and I see it happen every day. That's number one. Number two, never waste money on studios, okay? Especially now during COVID. It is one of the dumbest and biggest wastes of money that you can ever come up with, is wasting money on renting a studio. Just don't do it. It doesn't benefit you in any way. I just spoke to a photographer yesterday who just dumped $2,000 a month on a studio that she can't afford. And I'm mind blown. Why? How is that going to benefit you? Having a studio is not only is it not necessary, but it's actually detrimental to you as a photographer, because now it's kind of shackling you to be shooting just in studio and indoor photography in a place where people are afraid of COVID because they're indoors. It is absolutely the dumbest investment you can make. So just don't do it. Don't waste money on a studio. It's not worth it. Shoot on location, or if you have to, rent a studio and make your clients pay for it. Okay? It's not worth it otherwise. The only times that I have come across where a studio was a valuable investment was when the photographer used it as a business to market that business to other photographers to rent their studio and make it a commercial studio to make profit on people like me. That's the only time where it's worthwhile. But you know what? In the last year, obviously during COVID, all these studios have just suffered. Most of them have gone out of business. I was just in New York shooting, and I mean, probably a third of the studios I contacted had all gone out of business. And the other 2/3 were just dying and suffering because of, obviously the times. So having a studio is a locked hard cost. So in the business of photography, try to limit your locked hard costs, especially things that aren't adding value or adding to your bottom line. Okay. The other thing too is I talk to a lot of consumer photographers and commercial photographers who don't bill for their studio. They have the clients come in and they shoot them in their studio, and they're not charging their client. To me, that's mind-bending. Why would you not charge your client for something that you're paying for? especially if you're a commercial photographer. Portrait photographers, it's a little harder to do that. But if you're a commercial photographer, it is required by you, okay, to bill your client for that studio space. You know, and I would bill at least $1,200 a day. A good styled studio, $1,200 to $2,000 a day if you have a studio. If you're not doing that, then you need to have a intervention with one of my photographic business consultants about how you can make some real money and minimize your costs, your hard costs, maximize profitability. Okay, that's what we're here for. We're going to help you help you take that whatever you have to allocate towards your career. I want you guys to allocate it in the correct way and stop wasting money on things that are not valuable to you, okay, that are not going to help you in any way. That's really, really important. So what we should invest in, let's talk about, you know, this is what we shouldn't invest in, is equipment, new lenses, new lighting equipment, new cameras, new renting studios, employees. That's another one. Before I get to what we do invest in, I want to make sure that employees, absolutely useless. Okay, do not hire employees. It's probably one of the dumbest things you could ever do as a photographer, because an employee shackles you to now having to pay them W-2, and you have to pay them payroll taxes. It's a huge cost on your side as a photographer, as a business owner. So you should never have employees under any circumstance as a photographer, ever. I've never heard of one circumstance where it was beneficial in any way to have an employee as a photographer. If you are going to hire people, hire them as independent contractors. That way you don't have to worry about all the legalities and unemployment and issues like that, where you don't have to deal with payroll taxes. You don't have to do with the extra costs and the legal obligations you have to your employees. You're an independent contractor. You can just let them go if you need to. And also, even for me, I don't have any employees. And you know, I'm doing very well. I mean, I just bought a 49-room castle in France, and I'm on 12 acres of land in France that's going to be a mind-bending location for some of our productions. And, you know, for me, I've never had a single employee, you know? So I think that what's the point? It's not like, oh, if you're successful, you have employees. That's not the case. So I want you guys to realize that having employees is a huge waste of money. You know, I had a photographer on here that I've been coaching who drove me crazy because she was like trying to tell me that there was some benefit in hiring an employee when she was only making like $40,000 a year as a photographer, but she was paying this person $30,000 a year as her employee. And I'm thinking to myself, what in goodness name, like, why are you doing such a thing? Why are you wasting your valuable resources? Okay, so don't have employees. And if you're going to hire people, what I do is I hire people as one-offs. I hire people on my productions, my specific productions, because to me, that's important to have crew that I can have on those days, but I'm not shooting every day. I'm only shooting on certain days, and you pay them the allocated rate on those certain days. That's important. Okay. If it's somebody that's a long-term thing, or say you're hiring somebody from marketing, I like using things like Upwork. I think Upwork and Guru are fantastic opportunities. Absolutely fantastic opportunities. Ways in which you can get people to do things for like an eighth of what it would be if you were to hire them as an employee. Okay, guru.com, upwork.com. I love it. I've hired probably 40 people on Upwork. And basically, the great thing about it, you can have graphic design. You can hire illustrators. You can hire, you know, I hire designers for websites, for print promos, for all kinds of things. You can hire people to do sales for you and contact people on your behalf to hire, you know, to get you hired at opportunities for ad agencies or in photography. You can hire people for marketing, and it costs so little. And the beautiful thing about it is this: on Upwork and Guru, they don't get paid until they deliver and you're happy. Because I can't tell you how frustrated I would be if I was paying somebody $60,000 a year and it wasn't contingent on anything, and I just had to pay them either way. But if I'm paying somebody, you know, say $150 to build me a website on Upwork, and even if it's somebody from overseas, and I'm not happy with that website, they don't get paid. And you don't have to pay anything. You only have to pay when you're happy. And to me, that's a much better way of doing things. It protects you. It totally protects you as a photographer, as a business owner. Okay, so that's really important. Okay, so I think that, you know, another thing we need to do is we need to look at, okay, what do we need to do to actually, what do we need to invest in? Okay, what do we need to invest in our photography? What is a good investment? you know? So if it's not going to be hiring employees, it's not going to be wasting money on, you know, on rental studios and things like that. Let's look at what we need to spend it on, okay? And to me, that's a lot more important, is going to be marketing, okay? Marketing and our branding and our portfolio. That's where all your money should be spent, okay? Not on equipment. So one thing that I love to do is I like to develop my portfolio. I like to create world-class high-end content that can get me noticed, right? So what I do is I have different brands and I'm constantly developing my brands. So for you guys out there who are commercial photographers, or if you guys are out there that, that want to do commercial photography, or if you are portrait photographers or wedding photographers, I recommend developing a lifestyle body of work because that's hot right now. Okay, that's really hot right now. So this is my lifestyle body of work, and I'm updating it this winter, so it's going to look totally different, but this is my commercial lifestyle. This image right here has made me over $1 million because of all the opportunities, all the business it has brought to me. Was an image like this that has all the elements of what I'm looking for what clients are looking for. It has a little bit of diversity. It has energy. It has a feeling of laughter, happiness, ambiance, energy, excitement. And it has that feeling where it's a scene that was art directed, created, it was a story being told, allowed to unfold, and then captured. Sounds just like what we were talking about earlier. That was my vision, right? So that is a photographic emblematic image of that for my lifestyle photography. And when it comes to my fashion photography, a story like that. And images like these have impact, but these are very different brands. So many of you guys also shoot portraits, you shoot weddings, you shoot boudoir, you shoot architectural, you shoot product, whatever, all these different things. Make sure that you're not the jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, that's absolutely critical. The reason being is this, and I think I've mentioned this on some of my webinars in the past, but the reason being is that, think about this. If you like had a cardiac arrest, you know, if you had some major issue with your heart and you needed to go see, say, you know, a heart surgeon, you know, you got resuscitated and you had to go see a heart surgeon, maybe you need a bypass surgery or something like that. Would you go to a podiatrist? Or would you go to a dermatologist? Orthopedic surgeon? Who would you go to? They're all doctors. In fact, they're all specialists. But would you go to one of those? Heck no, of course not. You want to go to a specialist that's going to work on your heart so you don't die. It's exactly the same thing in photography. It's exactly the same thing. So if a client is wants me to shoot lifestyle children photography, I'm not going to show them this. Heck no. I don't care how proud I am of a picture like this. Doesn't matter. I am never going to show them my fashion photography. It is just not even on the realm. They don't even know that I shoot fashion. Okay? And I want to make it really clear. So if you shoot, for instance, wedding photography, don't ever show boudoir. That's insane. Don't do that. Especially if you shoot children photography, don't show something that's not appropriate. Okay, so I want you to only show what's appropriate. You have to. Okay, so it's for your vital future as a photographer. Only show the kind of work that is appropriate to the clients. That's absolutely critical. Okay, absolutely critical. Don't mess around with that, guys, because I want to make sure that you're only going to be an expert in your field, not a jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, so I want you guys to really think about this because it's really important that you are branded appropriately. Now, some of you may say, well, but I do everything and I don't really know what I specialize in. That's okay. Have each brand different, just like I do. Each brand needs to be completely different. Each brand needs to be completely separated and on different websites. And it needs to be marketed completely separate to different clients. And I would invest in developing that content. And by the way, guys, I am, I know you've got a huge group on here. You've got hundreds of people that have jumped on this webinar. And I know that it's a lot and you've got a million questions. I see a huge queue of questions in here. So I know we're not going to get to all of them. But we are offering free one-on-one photographic business strategic sessions with an actual professional photographic business consultants. And we're going to bring them on as well today. But we are offering this. We're offering 3 sessions, very specific. And I'd love for you guys to jump on. We're having 3 sessions per photographic business consultant. If you have a favorite, let us know who you want to work with. But this is an opportunity you don't want to miss. And I want to make sure that you guys see this. It's in the chat. So go on the chat and go ahead and click on that link. Really, really important. Okay. So I want you to jump on that link and I want you guys to set up a one-on-one photographic business strategy session. And I can tell you what, we've done things similar to this in the past on portfolio reviews, but this is going to be a little bit different. This is on developing your business strategy. You're going to map out what you're going to do for 2021. Okay. We're going to map it out. And I want you to not just think about, okay, I'm going to take some great pictures in 2021, hope that people find me and book me. No, I want a defined photographic business strategy. And if we have to have our goals, we have to understand why we haven't achieved those goals. We need to find a way to achieve each and every one of your photographic goals in a systematic way with one of my photographic business consultants. They're experts at this. They've all been trained by me personally, and they also have worked with hundreds of photographers. And they have helped them realize their dreams. And I love it. We've had photographers come through and work with some of our photographic consultants that are now shooting for Dolce & Gabbana, that are now shooting for Vogue, for Vanity Fair, that are now shooting $250,000 ad campaigns. And to me, that's some serious success. So to me, I don't measure, the success of our photographers, based on like, oh, they come and they take some cool pictures. I measure on what they actually achieve. Okay. So I want to see achievements. And if you guys want to see some achievements here, there's actually a page. This is the Photographic Workshop series that I run and direct, and I have been for the last nearly 12 years now, the Photography Workshop series. And these are some of our graduates. Charles Warren, he was a portrait photographer, just like many of you, who was from like South Carolina. He had never done any fashion before, but he came to me and he's like, hey, Kevin, I want to work with you to develop my fashion and to develop my, my body of work, because I want to take it to the next level. I want to be successful. And I was like, all right, come to LA, come to New York, work with me. I will do a one-on-one photographic workshop with you. So I did. And now he's shooting for Dolce & Gabbana. Like, that's insane. He's shooting for Dolce & Gabbana. He's shooting for Harper's Bazaar. He's shooting for Cosmopolitan. He's shooting for Vogue, Brazil. He's shooting for L'Officiel. He shot the Lee Jeans campaign. I mean, it's insane. He has taken it to a whole nother level. Okay. And to me, I love to see the success of our photographers that have done things like this. And his very first editorial publication were the images he shot at our workshops. It catapulted him into the next level. And now he's shooting for Vogue. Now he's shooting for Dolce & Gabbana. In fact, right now, he just shot Vogue Brazil 2020. Insane. He shot the Lee Jeans campaign last year. Love the success. We have this amazing photographer. I don't know if he's on right now, but David Geesbrick, who just attended. Yeah, he is. He's right now. He's on. He attended. He's an incredible photographer that shoots covers for films and television. He also shot for House of Cards. A very successful photographer. And look at the content that he shot at the workshops. Absolutely mind blowing. I mean, it has completely transformed. And he's already an incredibly successful photographer, but he was actually the photographer that generally was brought in on set to shoot what was already set up. Now he's the guy that's out there art directing and storytelling and creating these mind-blowing images. And I am just like wowed and amazed at what he has shot. I mean, this was incredible. He shot this at the Chicago workshop. And that's why I'm featuring him on our website, because I'm so proud of what he shot. I mean, this is just absolutely stunning. This image, he also shot at the Chicago workshop on fashion. So he shot the Chicago workshop. He shot with fashion and lifestyle. He also attended New York, and he built this body of work because David understands that you need to develop your portfolio and you need to develop yourself to the next level for success. And he's got to then market yourself in 2021, which I'm going to get to how we market ourselves. But I just want to showcase some of our photographers and the success, because if you have content like this, this is developing what we call your photographic currency. Okay. Your photographic currency is absolutely critical to your success. And what I mean by photographic currency, guys, is if you're just showcasing an average portrait with a regular person who's maybe not super thin, maybe they're overweight, they're one of your clients that you shot, and you're just showcasing that on your website and you're a portrait photographer, okay, well, it might not cut it. Because I tell you what, even if your new clients are the same, they're portrait clients that maybe they're not so thin, maybe they're not so attractive, but they want the ideal. They want the dream. They want to be sold the dream. And you need to do that. You need to create images with world-class top models in world-class top styling and world-class production, just like David did here, that will take you to the next level. And that's why I got so excited about what David created. I mean, this is amazing. And his success is just unbelievable. What he's doing now and what he's going to be doing in 2021. And I'm going to work personally with David to make sure that he achieves all of his goals in 2021, because I have a vested interest in my photographer's success. I don't just want a photographer to come, take some great pictures and walk away. I want to be with you. I want a Charles Randolph Warren out of you. I want somebody who's going to be shooting for Dolce & Gabbana, because I demand success out of the photographers that I coach and guide. And the same thing goes with the photographic consultants that you guys are going to be working with. They demand the success. And that's really important, because I want to make sure that you realize how incredible you guys really are, because a lot of you maybe don't really feel as empowered. Maybe people have turned you down in the past. Maybe you don't feel like you're good enough. But you know what? I can tell you that time and time again, photographers out there, you guys are so much more talented, so much more incredible than people give you credit for. And so many photographers that I meet that should be shooting for Vogue and Vanity Fair and Harper's Bazaar, or should be shooting those $15,000 weddings, or shooting portraits where you're making $5,000, $10,000 a portrait. I know so many photographers out there that have the ability, have the skill, have the personality to do it, and they're just not doing it. And to me, that's frustrating, because I want to make sure that you guys succeed. I want to make sure that you guys take it to the next level. I want to make sure that you guys realize your potential, because that's absolutely critical to me, guys. I don't want you guys to just settle for what, oh, I just shoot senior pictures, or I just shoot these $3,000 weddings or whatever. That's not going to cut it. I want you to realize your dreams, and I want you to achieve it. I want you to take it to the next level. And so many of you out there have the ability to take it to the highest level. And that's what I want to be helping you guys to do. That's really, really important to me. So I have a series of photographic epic experiences coming up. And I would strongly encourage you guys to jump on, just like David Geesbrick has, just like Charles Warren has, to achieve. And I encourage you guys to join us. I'm putting a poll up. I'd love for you guys to answer it, and about whether you guys would be interested in achieving some success by shooting at the highest level. And, you know, and I'd love to see it. I mean, this is actually a showcase right here. This was Adam Friedman. We did this during the 2019 Elite Masterclass, and it got featured. He won #1 fashion photographer of the year in the One Island Awards. This is over some of the most famous photographers in the world. Stan Musialik, Caesar Lima. These are some of the biggest photographers in the world. And our photographer, from what he shot at the workshop, won #1 Photographer of the Year award. I want this to be you, okay? And I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. So if you guys are interested in taking it to the next level, we have some mind-blowing photographic workshops coming up that are going to be absolutely astronomically incredible. They're going to take you to the next level. And just to kind of give you guys just a brief little preview of what one of those experiences would be like, I want to show you guys what we're going to be doing actually at the Newport Beach workshop. And this is going to massively help your photographic business, okay? It's going to give you what you need to achieve the kind of success. And this is if you're a portrait photographer, this is if you're a wedding photographer, this is if you're a commercial photographer, you want to do lifestyle, whatever. It's going to apply to all of that. And day one is going to be specific about developing your photographic business individually. And you're going to work with a world-class photographic panelist. Like we brought in at the last workshop, George Perez Reps, one of the biggest photographic reps. He's probably the most famous photographic rep on the West Coast in Los Angeles. And he reps some of the most famous photographers. He reps guys like John Russo. He reps photographers like Alvin Wynn. And he's one of the most successful agents. And he was actually my agent for 3 years. I've been rep by 4 different agents. So if you guys have a dream of achieving representation from a photographic agent, This was one of our panelists at the last workshop. He was here speaking to our photographers, guiding them, reviewing their portfolios, and even considering some of them for representation. And that was pretty incredible because remember, photographic reps represent the top 1/1000th of 1% of photographers. These are only the creme de la creme. And a guy like John Russo, who's rep by George Perez Reps, I mean, he's shooting every week for Vogue, Vanity Fair, Harper's Bazaar, Esquire, Rolling Stone, the who's who of Hollywood. So if this is something that would ever interest you, this is something that our panelists are the actual decision maker, the actual photographic reps that are booking the jobs with the decision makers. So we can guide you, we can help you. And on day one of that workshop, we're going to guide you on all aspects of the business of photography. It's absolutely critical to take you to the next level, to go through personally with you. And this is going to be really, really in-depth, hands-on, one-on-one, that we're going to work with you. Then you get to work with our panelists. And we're going to be shooting on day one, which we never used to do in the past. But now at every single one of our photographic workshops, our main section photographic workshops, we're going to be shooting on day one. And in addition to developing the business side. So you're going to be shooting for 4 solid days, shooting the greatest images you've ever shot in your lifetime, guaranteed. Okay. And that's a big deal. And that's a big, those are some big solid words from somebody that, you know, like myself, to say, hey, you're going to shoot the greatest images you've ever shot in your lifetime. Those are some really, really strong words. But you know what? We've done this for nearly 12 years now, and the success speaks for itself. We've got a Denver experience where we're going to also talk about the business side. And by the way, the last Denver workshop we had, our art director from Integer out of, it was just an ad agency in Denver. He actually booked one of our photographers on a $20,000 shoot in San Francisco. She was a food photographer, and met her at this lifestyle workshop. And we had a bunch of architectural photographers, food photographers and stuff. And after the workshop, he booked her on a $20,000 job. It was incredible. It was incredible to see. And so we have success even coming from the workshops themselves, but taking it to the next level. But this is going to be all about developing your winter lifestyle story, which I think is really fantastic. Shooting scenes with all ages of models, energized, excited, developing that body of work that's not just, you know, for me, I shoot in Southern California, so it's great and advantageous to have a winter wonderland story in addition to Southern California. Or, you know, if winter wonderland is not your thing, we also have epic experiences in Miami Beach. Now, if you guys are interested in developing your business strategy, remember, I want you to go ahead and click on the link, if you haven't done it already, and set up in the chat a photographic consult with one of our professional photographic business strategists. We've got some incredible people on our team, and I would really love to see you guys take it to the next level and work with them personally. So make sure to click on that and to join and to set a consult. It's free, you know, no obligation. Just jump on and set up one of our Zoom calls with them. And trust me, it will radically shift the perspective and what's going to happen for you in 2021, because that's what this is about. What are we going to do in 2021 for you? Are you happy with your current situation and the cost of it? Well, probably not, because most photographers that I know are not that happy with their current situation. They're just like, I'm not doing that great. I want to, I'd like to do more, but I'm just not, I'm just not there yet. And I want to make sure that you guys are. So let's go ahead and get you guys to set up a photographic strategy session that's going to take you to the next level. I think that's going to be absolutely critical. So please click that. I'll also answer the poll if you haven't already about, how likely would you be interested in attending a workshop? If it's, 10 you would, or, 1, you have no interest whatsoever in improving your career. Either way is fine. I think that it's important, though, to realize the investment in yourself is absolutely critical. It's absolutely critical. And I think that you guys need to think about, what you need to do to really maximize your strategy and to set up almost like a week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter strategic plan of what you need to do in 2021. Because if you don't, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. And you're going to keep doing what you're doing. And then that's it. And you're not going to see the same kind of success that you would have liked to. So to me, I mean, that to me is devastating. I think that if I were you, I would really hustle for 2021, just like I'm doing. I'm going to hustle and take it to another level in 2021. You know, I don't really care what I've done in the past. I'm vastly more interested in what I'm going to do in the future. That's what I care about. And I want you guys to think about that too. So many photographers, oh, I've been shooting for 30 years. I don't care. That means nothing to me now. It means nothing to the decision makers. Nobody cares how long you've been shooting. But I tell you what, they do care what you're going to shoot for them. What kind of stories are you going to tell for them? Okay, so one of the things that I like to do is develop creative briefs. So if I'm going to tell a story, for instance, I'm going to pitch something to an ad agency, or I'm going to pitch it to a magazine, for instance. Let's take a magazine, for instance, and I'm going to pitch a story. Hey, I want to shoot this editorial at a castle. Remember I talked about this castle earlier? I talked about this epic castle, right? So if I'm going to shoot an epic editorial at a castle, hey, let's tell a story. Let's tell a story about what we could do at that castle, and we could showcase it to clients, to photo editors at magazines, right? So here would be an example creative brief of what I would tell. So instead of me coming in and knocking on the door and saying, hey, magazine, would you be willing to publish me? What I do is I research the magazine. Okay, you know, this was for LA Fashion Magazine, for instance. So like I looked up LA Fashion Magazine. I analyzed, like, okay, I got their what we call their editorial calendar, and I discovered, okay, which issue is which. You know, when is say the summer issue? What, you know, which month? What do we do for the fall fashion issue? You know, which issue is going to be for the men's issue or the love issue? Each magazine has an editorial calendar of what's going to come out for the months. So what I'm going to do, and it's easy to achieve this, you just go online, you go on the website, and you just download their media kit. And the media kit, it tells you. And then I curated this based upon their media kit, and I shared this with magazines that I was going to work with, and I shared this creative brief palace. Now, this is a story. It's a one-page story about something that I would want to shoot for them. Okay, shooting at a palace. And I have a description. As a supermodel's dressed from the stagecoach, adorned in high fashion couture circa 16th century Italy, a gentleman leads them to the castle, walking through the elaborate royal garden, et cetera, et cetera. It's going on and on about what kind of story is all about. It includes the talent, the director of photography, the location, the emotions, the wardrobe, the props, the wardrobe stylist, who the makeup and hairstylist is. So I have my whole team in place. And even if you guys don't have people yet, that's okay. I can introduce you to people. I know literally the best stylists in the world in every major city in America and in Europe. So if you want help with that, that's something that we can help you with. But essentially, I develop these creative briefs, just a one-page story, and I start pitching them. And I start pitching. That's why I've been published in over 180 magazines, is that instead of coming up with just, hey, look at my pictures, do you want to hire me? I come in with a story that I want to tell. And I'm like, hey, here's a creative brief story. This is something that I want to tell. This is something I want to shoot for you. It's already lined up. I have everything ready to go. Yay or nay? And oftentimes it's a yay, and they want to do it, and they get excited. So I did. I ended up shooting that. I shot in Milan. I shot an editorial in Rome, and then I shot one in Istanbul, and it was some of the greatest photography I've ever done. And it catapulted my career. It was absolutely career changing for me. And I'd recommend that you guys do the same, because I want to see you tell the stories, the dream stories that you've always wanted to tell. And you know what's really cool is that same creative brief, I'm going to use something very similar to that for my next chapter, which is going to be at the French castle that I just purchased in France. It's a 49-room, 17-bedroom, 12-bathroom castle in France from the 13th century. This is the castle, and I am really, really excited. And we actually have a workshop that we're going to be doing there in August of 2021, August 8th through 12th. We're going to come on set, and you're going to be creating the greatest fashion images of your lifetime with supermodels from Paris, with world-class production, and it includes a stay at this 13th century castle. We have a masseuse on present at the castle the entire time. It's a 5-day experience. We have a Michelin star chef cooking all the incredible food, and we have private label wine for the castle. It's incredible. It's going to be an absolutely mind-bending experience. It's an ultra-exclusive experience. It's not even on our website yet, but I want to share it with you guys. But this is something, dream experience. And when we talked about impact earlier, we talk about, hey, these images, the images that have impact are the ones that are going to take you to the next level. Images shot here are going to have impact. They're going to be with supermodels in front of a 13th century castle. Nobody has that. Okay, that's going to take you to the next level. I would love for you guys to have that opportunity. So if you guys are interested in developing something like that, you let us know, because it's an ultra exclusive opportunity. We're very selective about who we allow to come to these workshops. Those of you guys who are, that are on this webinar now, many of you have come to the workshops, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, there's photographers that I'm very, very selective about, and I want to make sure that you guys we only have the best of the best of the best, and that's really, really important to me. So you guys, I really want you guys to think about, okay, do I want to take my photographic portfolio and my business to the next level? And if I do, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? So go ahead, and I just set out a poll here for which photographic workshops would you be interested in attending. And I'd be very curious about what you guys think. You know, would you be interested in going to a 13th century castle and photographing the most epic experiences, the most epic shoots of a lifetime in France? You know, is that something that would, interest you? Would that be something that would get you excited? Would it add value to your life and your photographic career? Would it give you images with impact? You know, or maybe, France is too far. You can't handle it right now with travel restrictions and stuff like that. Do you want to come to Newport Beach, and shoot something in Newport Beach, which, by the way, we just did one a few months ago in Newport Beach, and it was one of the most epic workshops we've ever done. It was absolutely mind-blowing on set in Newport Beach. It was absolutely incredible. I was so excited, and the photographers that attended created the most mind-blowing lifestyle photography. So I was so excited about the success of what we achieved. It was absolutely stellar, the kind of content that we created at the Newport Beach workshop. So that's going to be on lifestyle, all 4 days, developing mind-bending lifestyle photography and developing your photographic business to the highest level. So this is essentially what we're going to be doing in Newport Beach, high-end lifestyle photography. We have an epic experience that we have coming up in Denver on Winter Wonderland, where we're going to be shooting a mind-blowing winter story, winter advertising with all ages of models, from young adult to mature to family situations. And we're going to be creating content like this. This is in Denver, Colorado. And by the way, I think we only allow 11 photographers in, and I think that we are at near capacity. I think we have 10 in each one of these workshops so far for both Newport and Denver. So I think there's only one final spot left. Now, Miami Beach, we just did last month, and that was pretty mind-blowing. We shot with supermodels from Sports Illustrated, and it was incredible. This is actually what we did what we just did actually last year in Miami Beach with supermodels from, this girl was Miss Brazil. We had supermodels from Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret. We had girls from, she was the cover of Playboy, Haley Maxwell. And this is what we have coming up in Miami Beach. This is in April. We're going to be doing 3 out of 4 of the days. We're going to be in resort lifestyle advertising. So if your business is going to be in resorts, advertising, interior architecture, shooting lifestyle resort, if you're into swim photography, we're going to have all that stuff is going to be covered at the Resort Lifestyle Photography Workshop in Miami Beach. We shot at a mansion in Key Largo this year, actually also at the prior one the year before, at this mansion in Key Largo owned by a major modeling agent and owner of a major fashion house in Milan. And then we also shot at another mansion in Miami and a 5-star hotel on the beach in Miami Beach, and it was absolutely stunning. So that's Miami. And there is only one spot left. This year with the other one, we shot in the LA Fashion magazine with Alessandro Tomaszewski from Sports Illustrated. So we talk about photographic currency. If you have, and if you're shooting swim or even boudoir photography, if you have photographic currency, like shooting Alessandro Tomaszewski from Sports Illustrated, hey, that's going to add a lot of value to who you are and how you're perceived as a photographer. Absolutely. This was actually 2 years ago at the Miami Beach workshop on the Resort Lifestyle Day. And world-class top models. These are some of the biggest models in the world for swim. They do major swim campaigns all the time, and also lifestyle. But having the energy, the laughter, the smiles, the excitement, and creating this feeling, and not only on photography, but also video. And at all our workshops, we're shooting high-end 4K to 8K high-end video production with gimbals, with sliders, at the masterclass and also the Newport Beach workshop, we're shooting with an 8K, $150,000 motion picture set kit that you're going to be creating the most epic video content of your lifetime there, which is pretty spectacular. So anyway, we're going to be doing that video at each and every workshop. And one of the things that I learned from every one of our panelists that attended our workshop this year, from photography agents like Simone Friend in Chicago, who reps top photographers, to George Perez reps here in Los Angeles, to Jake Foster, photography agent at 46 Pictures in LA, to Mario Gomez, who just booked a $750,000 ad campaign. He was the decision maker that hired a photographer, Dave Hill, on that in LA. He was there, and every single one of them told me the same thing. They said, every single photographer, it is required that you shoot video. It's not even an option anymore. You have to have video. You have to have an epic video reel. It's absolutely key. So I think you guys have to do that. You have to build a reel. Now, one of the coolest things, guys, is that at our workshops, we have that at every single one of our workshops, is we have the opportunity to shoot epic high-end video content. And if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, take a look at my reel. This is my video reel. This is the kind of stuff that I showcase to my commercial clients. This is one of my companies, Indigo Productions. And
it will be good times.
Here you go.
An epic, adrenaline-filled challenges, but it seems no way you can make it, but you'll find a way.
And to me, this is critical because I have a content now that's going to blow people away, and it books me on those six-figure ad campaigns and commercial jobs because they see the gravitas of this. Over half of this content was filmed at our photographic workshops, and the remainder was shot during my television show and major TV commercials. But honestly, in my opinion, the best content in here was actually all shot at our workshops, which to me is pretty mind-blowing to have that kind of content. Shot in 8K, creating mind-blowing content that is going to be heads and tails above everything else out there. And just imagine having this on your website. In fact, I have a stack of hard drives in front of me right now from photographers. When I'm mailing these back to photographers that attended the last workshops, I have literally 7 hard drives that I'm mailing back with video content so that they have, everybody that attended the last 5 workshops has all the video content from all of the workshops that they can use for their video production reel. Because that's a huge benefit from attending these experiences, because these kind of productions are expensive. And if we want to develop photographic currency, that's the only downside, is photographic currency is expensive. It costs about $100,000 a day for this kind of production. And to have it provided for you is absolutely mind-blowing. That's the benefit, that's the value of what you get out of these epic workshops. So I'd strongly encourage you guys develop this kind of body of work, this photographic body of work, and also an epic video reel at that level, because it will take you to the next level. It completely will take you to the next level. And that's what I get really excited about. Now, I have a bunch of questions. So thanks so much, guys. I'm going to answer these. I'm also going to bring on some of our epic panelists. And when I do, I think we're going to probably have Daniel Rothschild first. And I'd like for him to talk and give some guidance on some of these, because we have a lot of amazing photographers on here that want to hear from people like him, because he's an absolute expert. Okay, all right. Now let me answer a few questions before we get to our panelists. Okay. So I have a question from Renee Laabi. Renee asked, the previous way to get a press pass or magazine assignment was to contact them directly, but they seem to have been bought by conglomerates. How do I get to an actual editor? I still do live music photography and weddings. Okay, great question, Renee. Now, you're right. A lot of magazines had been swallowed up because, of course, with all the turnover in the industry and stuff like that, magazines have just kind of gone left and right. They were dying before COVID. Now with COVID, it's over. Party's over for magazines. However, a lot of them need content, and believe it or not, magazines are actually very easy to shoot for. I've been publishing 180 magazine editorials, and you know what? It's actually been very easy, because the thing is magazines need content. They're not going to pay for it. They don't have a budget, but they need content. So if you, Renee, are willing to do all this amazing content and photograph for them, so many magazines are going to be desperate for it. Believe me, they really will. Even higher end magazines than you might think, because there's a lot of photographers who won't even shoot for magazines anymore because they won't pay them anything. right? So if you have an interest in getting a press pass, and I've done this too, like I get press passes to big events, or I get press pass to when I went to Milan Fashion Week, for instance, when I showed you those creative briefs. Those are ones that got me into Milan Fashion Week because I got a magazine. I think I had LA Fashion Magazine give me a press pass. So what you do is you do contact the magazine directly. Even if they are bought out by conglomerates, the magazines still are going to be authorizing press passes directly. So no matter who owns the magazine, the magazines are going to have somebody, usually the photo editors or the fashion editor, or whichever, or lifestyle editor, whoever you're dealing with there, they're going to be able to issue a press pass. It's very easy. It's just basically an authorization that you can go and get into these, events. But it's great. I'd recommend doing that. It's a great opportunity to get great content. But good question, Renee. Absolutely. Okay. Charles Schleicher asks, do you have anything you want to tell us about stock photography? Great. Okay. Stock photography is dead photography. Okay. So Charles, I'm sorry to tell you, but stock photography died basically in the early 2000s. I mean, it became a thing in the 90s. In the early 2000s, it was still happening. I knew photographers who could make a living at it. You can't make a living at it anymore. It's almost impossible. It's been commoditized. So stock photography, it's generally not very much rights managed stock photography. Most of it now is, buyouts, and a lot of it, Getty kind of owns everything now. And the photographer themselves makes next to nothing. So the only way to actually make a lot of money in stock photography, make any money in stock photography, is to do just mass quantity where you're shooting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pictures and constantly submitting them. But the problem with that is the quality suffers. So you're not producing high quality, you're producing low quality but high quantity. And that's not my thing. Maybe it's yours, but not my thing. And still these days, stock photography is dead. So I wouldn't recommend it. Not a good industry to be in. I would just try to work directly with clients for custom photo shoots. That's where the money is, specifically in advertising. That's where the real money is. But great question. Okay. All right. John Wooten asks, I love fashion, but it's a hard industry to maintain. Can't wait to get there one day, but how can I prepare myself for the busy lifestyle that this could potentially be? Also, what can I do as a photographer now to be successful? John, that's a fantastic question. I really appreciate that. You know what, John? I think that you're right. Fashion is a very hard industry. Absolutely. One of the problems is you're dealing with fashion brands. Okay. Fashion brands are kind of peanuts. They're small brands, even the big ones. If you even can compare the Dolce & Gabbanas or the Yves Saint Laurent, they're nothing compared to Pfizer. They're nothing compared to Google or Apple or Yahoo. Or they're tiny. They're little specks on the radar. And then obviously most of you guys are not going to get to, are not shooting for those brands. You're shooting for small designers in your town. And those brands have next to no money. So the challenge is dealing with fashion brands directly and making money off of that, because the real money is in the fashion advertising. Okay. So the way with fashion to kind of break in is shooting editorials for major magazines like Vogue and Vanity Fair and Harper's Bazaar, just like Charles Randolph Warren did. And then, after he took the workshops, and then utilizing that to catapult you to the success of landing the campaigns like Dolce & Gabbana. And then you can start making money. But oftentimes fashion campaigns are still not huge. I mean, you might make when I shoot a lookbook, I'm shooting, it's $20,000 to $30,000 for a lookbook. That's 2 days, and they're shot every quarter. If it's a fashion advertising shoot, maybe anywhere from for when I've done them, anywhere from 60,000 to maybe 80,000 or so, which is still a lot of money for the production budget. But at the end of the day, how much you're earning, maybe 2/3 of that. Still good, but really hard to land, because obviously the competition is great, but we need to develop the body of work and the content and the photographic currency to get there, John. Absolutely critical. So to prepare for that, we need to develop the photographic currency. I would recommend attending the New York workshop, the Las Vegas workshop. We're going to be shooting on cracked earth in the desert and photographing with these huge flowy dresses, and also the Elite Masterclass. Those would be ones, and Chicago. Those would be the ones that I think would really give you what you need to take it to the next level. So for instance, we talked a little bit about some of our photographers that attended some of our fashion workshops. We created some insane content there that really has helped them catapult themselves. So for instance, at the New York Fashion Workshop, one of our young photographers, he was only you know, I think 19 years old or something. And this is the first fashion shoot he ever did. And then, you know, he was attending this workshop and then he ended up booking a fashion campaign the next week. This is so awesome. And these images were actually shot by one of our attendees actually on this webinar right now, David Geesbrick, and then Hans J. Paul shot the other one. So really impressive, world-class. I think these models have been in Vogue, Vanity Fair. A couple of the models had been in the Giorgio Armani campaign. Absolutely mind-blowing, the kind of content. And then, of course, fashion at the highest level is, you know, New York, and then also the Elite Masterclass. So we just did this like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. This was in LA. And we shot at a water studio, which was like a 30,000 square foot water studio. We filled the studio with water. We shot with horses racing across the water. We shot with parachutes. We shot with these supermodels from Vogue. It was absolutely out of this world. Incredible. So I loved it. And by the way, guys, if you haven't already replied to the poll, please add your comments. I'd like to know which workshop, photographic workshop experience, the masterclass would you be interested in, Chicago, Las Vegas, the France experience, going to New York, Denver, you know, what gets you excited? So please do. So anyway, so that just to answer your question, John Wooten, that would be my suggestion, is develop that epic body of work, start shooting editorials, market yourself, and start shooting fashion lookbooks, because that is a great way to get a quarterly $30,000 job. And fashion brands need it all the time, but it is going to be a hustle, and it is a lifestyle where you need a lot of energy. You know, I have a lot of energy. It helps because I am always on the go, and I'm go, 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 go. And it definitely, fashion does take a lot of energy and a lot of hustle. Okay. So Rakesh asks, do you have any thoughts about virtual production? And by the way, Rakesh Malik, world-class cinematographer and photographer. Great to see you, Rakesh. He has attended a couple of our workshops so far. And Rakesh, you're amazing. You're super talented at what you do. And I am just wowed and dazzled about the great content that you shot at our workshops. So Rakesh, any thoughts on virtual production? So I think you're referring to, you know, because of COVID, you're basically directing a production virtually from another spot, another location. I kind of assume that's probably what you're saying. So I would say I think it's absolutely silly and ridiculous. I mean, I remember back in like March and April when COVID was freaking out and people started, you know, figuring out, well, what do I do next? And there's people trying to command cameras from the computers. Ridiculous, not necessary, guys. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. I've done 5 massive scale photographic workshops with 4 days of shooting. So I've done now 20 days of shooting in the last, like, you know, a massive scale production at like scale of $100,000 a day with sets of like 20 people on set, sometimes 30 people on set. And not a single person from any of our photographic experiences has gotten COVID from the workshop. So I'm not concerned, guys. You just have to make sure that the modeling agency make sure the models, you know, are clean, that they've been tested, or that they know that they haven't, you know, had COVID. You got to make sure your team is. I recommend taking temperatures at the door. I recommend just being really careful and safe, because obviously not everybody's gonna be wearing a mask the whole time. So just be safe, socially distance, and also I recommend shooting outdoors as much as possible. Although in New York we shot in studio, we didn't have a problem there either. But most of our productions are on location, which I like doing anyway. And if you're in a cold climate, come down and join us in Newport Beach in February. The weather's incredible. Or come and join us in Miami Beach. It's absolutely stunning there in April, nice and hot. Okay, so let me answer one more question, and then, or actually 2 more questions, and I'm gonna jump on to one of our panelists, Daniel Rothschild. So the next one here is, this one is from Magdalena Papunu. And Magdalena asks, what is the best way to sell prints on your website? Should you outsource your printing or do it yourself? That is a great question. Outsource your printing or do it yourself. I know that some of our photographers on here, like Nick Seth Smith, he's an expert printer. If you guys have any, you know, need for custom printing, I'd recommend him. He's attended like 2 of our workshops. He's signed up for 2 more, and he's printed the entire portfolio for one of our top photographers, Hans J. Paul. And he did an incredible job. I got to see that portfolio in person. Or, you know, I think, but as far as printing itself, I've had really good success doing it in a very inexpensive way. Believe it or not, I have these like high-end $2,000 portfolios And I actually handmade by a custom bookbinder. I get all my prints done at Costco. And I know it sounds crazy, but believe it or not, Costco has the same quality printers as any high-end print lab. They're these $100,000 laser argon printers, and they do an amazing job. And so it's taking a digital file and it's printing it on emulsion paper, and it's absolutely incredible. I've had amazing success. All my portfolios I've done at Costco, all the printing of them, and then I put them into my actual physical portfolio. But I recommend, me personally, I am a master printer. I actually did my degree in this, in photography, and also as an expert in printing. I did my bachelor's and my MFA in it. And so I know what I'm doing, but the time consumption, the energy, and the expense of doing it yourself, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's better to outsource it personally. Yeah. Now, when it comes to retouching, I like to do my own retouching, or if I have a huge abundance, I try to hire a retoucher, have them do a bulk of it, and then I finish it. But I've never found a retoucher that can actually finish it. I have to do the final finishings. And the last question I want to answer before we get to our panelists is from Duke Morse. How do you get past the gatekeepers for large brands and magazines? This is a really good question, Duke. This is something that this plagues photographers. How do I get past the gatekeeper? Okay, so on normal times, like say if people are in the office, right? Everyone gets a vaccine, everybody's back in the office, and ad agencies. What you do is you contact the ad agencies. Now, I recommend, first of all, to do a step-by-step process. I'm going to send an email broadcast out. I personally use Infusionsoft. I send about 1.5 million emails a month, and I send out email broadcasts about the newest, latest content. And it's critical that you have new, fresh content all the time, right? Because you want new content to send. But secondly, I want to then follow up with a print promo. So I'm going to send a printed 6x11 promo, and I'm going to mail that out to those clients. And I like 6x11 because it's the largest piece of printed material you can send out. It's still being standard postage, which is what, 52 cents or whatever. And if it's like 6x12, you have to pay double the cost for postage. So I like 6x11 personally. I use a website called gotprint.com to print my promos. If you guys want more info on this, I highly recommend you set up a one-on-one photographic business consult with one of our photographic business experts, because they can walk you through this process. So go ahead and click on the link in there. I think that's pretty fantastic. All right. So but when it comes to getting past gatekeepers, I would send out the email. I would send out the print promo, and then when you call in, first of all, I would say I would use the first name. Say I'm contacting Mario Gomez, who booked this photographer I know, Dave Hill, on a $750,000 campaign for a lifestyle campaign. And if I'm contacting Mario, I would call in the agency. If I can get directly to him, obviously that's ideal. But if there's a gatekeeper, then I would say, "Oh, hey, is Mario there?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, who's speaking?" But "Oh, it's Kevin. I sent him something. I just wanted to talk with him about it." "Oh, okay, here, I'll put him through." So if you're on a first name basis, and you make it seem really casual, like you're his buddy or you're a working relationship, they're far more likely to pass you right through and not have any issues. So that'd be my recommendation. So go ahead and pass them on over, okay? And then also, if you already sent them something, an email or a print promo or both, then you have even more of a reason to call them. I love doing that, And the most ideal in 2021, I would set up Zoom calls. So if you get on the phone with them, I would not only do that, I would get on the phone and be like, "Oh my gosh, so good, I got hold of you, Mario. Here, did you get this email I sent you?" And then boom, while you're on the phone with them, send them an email with a link in it, a Zoom link, and then be like, "Oh, this is a Zoom link." Yeah, because there's something I wanted to go over with you. Click on it, and hopefully they will. If you can get them to click on that link and join you on a Zoom call, the chances of you building a relationship with them and potentially working with them go up like 8-fold. Because Zoom is critical. Just like right now, you guys are getting to know me personally. You're getting to know me, my personality, and you're going to get to know people on my team. This helps. Zoom, it's not, it's obviously best in person, but it's the next best thing. And everyone's used to Zoom. It's kind of a comfort thing now. Use it to your advantage. And especially if you guys are remote, you live in places like Maine. I was talking to a photographer, from rural like Kansas. It doesn't matter where you live. You can Zoom from anywhere. It's fantastic. You're stuck in a snowstorm on the East Coast, whatever, you can Zoom. It's all good. It makes it so much easier now. We don't have to actually drive and hustle and get down there and deal with the traffic and parking and hassle and get in and meet with them in person. But obviously that would be even better. But Zooming would be fantastic because then showcase your images on Zoom. But that would be my suggestion for you. All right. So the great Dan Rothschild is on, and I want him to take over. And I want him to kind of give you guys some guidance on photographic strategy. And again, guys, if you want to set up a one-on-one personal photographic consult with Dan Rothschild, Priscilla Evans, with Sean Ashanti, with the great Jim Donahue, they're all absolute experts, and they all have their own specialties. So I would love for you guys to coordinate, like Priscilla, for instance, is a production coordinator. So she actually was working with one of our photographers, Veronica Yankowski, on bidding on a $12,000 shoot. She was just been doing that over the last couple of days, working with her on that. So she can kind of give you some ideas and guidance and stuff on that. Daniel Rothschild, he's an amazing consultant with going over portfolios and kind of keeping photographers accountable. So Dan, I'd love to hear from you and your guidance on kind of what you see for 2021 and what you think photographers are missing and what they can do to improve to maximize their potential in 2021.
Oh, fantastic, Kevin. Thanks so much. Howdy, fellow photographers. Hope you're all doing great. I'm going to make it short, brief, to the point. 2021 is going to be a fantastic year for everyone. It's everyone's waiting for it and excited for it. But one of the points of why we as an entire organization and company and brand are successful is we're fully rounded. And that means not only in all the aspects of photography, but all the aspects of business, marketing, and the whole thing that makes success. Because think about it, you can be a great photographer, great artist, and if you're not marketing yourself, well, then you're just a great artist, and you're generating no business. So I'll use a fun, kind of humorous analogy. The old adage of public speaking is probably the scariest thing, for many, many people. And so, it's even, what do they say? Compared to burning to death, they'd rather that than public speaking. But it's kind of the analogy is most photographers look at the business side of their photography business, the marketing, all the points of getting contacted, like kind of many of the questions people have been asking tonight. They look at it the same way. It's put to the sidelines. It's not what they want to do. They want to do the photography and all that. That's wonderful. So what we do is we help bring that focus in to show and help photographers get much better on the business side. And so as an example, if you're wanting to get a client, a business, a company, you have to, just a small little thing is you have to know, well, what do they want? What are they looking for? So what do? Well, you go look at their advertising to begin with before you're going to send any of your photos to them to see. So that way you're in line with what they do. There's a couple things. One, I rarely find a photographer that has a business plan written. And so they think that, okay, I'm going to do this every day, but life distracts us over here, over there, and all that. So one of the things I work with photographers on is a business plan written so that as all those distractions in life come at you, you have an anchor to stay focused on accomplishing the certain things each week that you need to be doing. The second thing is marketing. There have been some great questions tonight. Well, how do I get in touch with this one? How do I get through the gatekeeper? How do I do this? How do I do that? We can guide you on many different aspects of how to improve your marketing and or actually do marketing. It's not rocket science. It takes a little bit of work. One of the things I find is this. You have to make things simple. So to start making a habit of spending some time weekly doing marketing, you don't give yourself this gigantic project to do. You take something small and simple that you are going to be okay doing. And then once you do it, say an hour, 3 days a week, an hour a day, working on your marketing and you're contacting companies and sending out emails and sending the print promos and all. And then as you get comfortable with it, you're building a habit where you're like, oh, and you're getting results. You start getting people contacting you going, hey, and then you just go, okay, well, I'll put an hour and a half in each day. So this is part of kind of the many things we work with photographers on is not only the photography, and as Kevin had mentioned, the portfolio is your selling tool. But to sell it, you also have to do the other side of it, the marketing and the business plan and that type of thing. So again, as I've mentioned earlier, what client do you want? What are they already using? Well, let's match them. Simple. When you send an email out, make it simple. A sentence or two, couple photos. That way it's not overwhelming to them and they're going to go, oh, they're going to look at your photos, see your name. Next week when you do it again, oh, okay. Little tools and tricks of the trade like that. So 2021, great year coming up. Let's get prepared for it in all aspects. Your portfolio, your photos, the mentoring of Kevin with all the great photographic knowledge and showing you how he's already accomplished the getting with ad agencies and ad campaigns and everything, and even television. So he knows how to. And so follow his guidance, do the little bit of work it takes, get with us. I'm here, Sean is here, Priscilla's here, Jim is here, Ivan's here. We're all here. We're a great team with many different talents. And, I look forward to working with any and all of you. So cheer to 2021. And thanks so much for Kevin for letting me get on.
Absolutely. I mean, Daniel Rothschild's an absolute expert. He works with so many of our absolute star photographers, from David Geesbrick to Hans J. Paul to Rakesh Malik to all these amazing photographers on here, Nick Seth Smith, and they have had incredible success because of that. Now I want to introduce the great Priscilla Evans, and she is Australian and has been working as our production coordinator, and actually has been at the last two workshops in both the Elite Masterclass in Los Angeles. She actually arranged the entire horses racing across the water, and the shoot with the parachutes and everything. And she also is an absolute expert in dealing with budgets and estimates and stuff and maximizing profitability for photographers. So in fact, she's been doing that over the last couple of days with one of our photographers, Veronica Yankowski. So Priscilla, could you talk a little bit about that and about your experience with, kind of what you suggest, some guidance, some kind of things that maybe our photographers aren't doing so well and things that they could do to improve, to maximize profitability on their shoots?
Absolutely. So hi, everyone. Thank you, Kevin, for having me on. And so we've been working the last couple of days with this fabulous photographer, Veronica Yankowski, and she was actually one of our workshop attendees. She attended the New York workshop, and I've been helping her basically create a bid on what is now going to be a potentially 12K ad campaign for like a menswear fashion brand. So she actually got published from the work she shot at the workshop, and that was published in an editorial story in a fashion magazine, which was fabulous for her. It created a lot of noise around her. And since then, that's helped her gain a whole lot more opportunity. And she's also been a panelist on some of our past webinars. So some of you might have seen her there. So basically, in creating a bid, I guess some of the pitfalls that photographers fall into. Firstly, they don't know the brand that they're targeting or that they're trying to get the campaign for well enough. So, you've got to ask yourself some questions like, are they actually as small as they kind of made out they were over the phone? Are they telling me that they've only got, a really small budget? It might be under a few grand, when actually, I think Veronica was told they had like something closer to 1 to 2 grand. And then you find out what they're selling and the products they're selling, their jackets are actually selling for the exact same price. So you know that actually in reality, their budget for their marketing and their photographers that they're going to hire is actually a lot higher than that. So ask a lot of questions, find out what they need. Like Dan was saying, get to know them and know what they want, but also know what they need. Are they actually looking for a photographer? Are they looking for just to get the photos and then to have a graphic designer work further on them? In which case, why not offer both? Kevin brought up some awesome websites earlier, Upwork and Guru. And these are great sites where you as the photographer can actually hire a graphic designer, and you can actually include that in the bid and then use that and obviously add a markup. And that's a great way to add value to what you're bringing to the table. So another way that you can, really improve the way you're branding yourself and also presenting your bid is to do it really formally and to make sure that you don't forget anything. So, don't forget the filler lines of the budget. So for something, around the 12K mark, this should be the actual document itself that you're going to send in should be like around a 5-page document perhaps. And a really good program, there's some programs out there that actually spit out the budget side of this for you. And a really great program that I recommend is Blinkbid, blinkbid.com. So it's actually free to sign up, and I think it's like a monthly subscription of $14 a month or something. So really, really cheap. And it's great. It basically essentially spits out your budget. And to this, you might add, the introduction, a couple of pages, you might add a bio, you might have some recommendations, you might have maybe an endorsement from someone fabulous that you've worked with in the past, or maybe from a panelist, someone that you got to know at the workshop who could maybe provide you like an endorsement for your work. That's a great way to add value and to really promote yourself as someone that client should be working with. And then of course we get to usage. So, it's really important not to undervalue your usage as a photographer, and remember to consider all aspects. Don't just consider online usage. It's you want to specify that it's important to not only increase the usage, but specify that it's only for a limited amount of time, for example, per year, because that way that if they want to use it again the following year, they've got to pay the same again. And it's a great way to get what you can out of them, for as long as possible. And then a lot of photographers I see, they don't really put in, or they actually do put in cancellation terms in the bid that they send in. Get rid of that. So, if they cancel, they lose. Okay, that's really important. Definitely value yourself and don't be afraid to put yourself out there and don't undervalue your work. You guys are fantastic photographers. So definitely you want to promote that, and you want all the documents that they see from you to definitely reflect that as well.
Excellent. I'm really impressed, Priscilla, because you did an amazing job with Veronica. This is also an example of a campaign that I personally shot. It was a 2-day shoot. It's a $100,000 job. I think I walked away with about $65,000 off of this. But I used Blinkbid to put this one together. And so I would recommend you guys, utilize this, because not only is it easy and it helps you put it together, but it also gives you an opportunity to kind of remember things that you might not have added. The lenses, the cameras, the laptop, the location fees, the craft services, the all the little details. And there's all these line items that it kind of reminds you of, so you can start to build a bid. And this is how a professional bid looks. And what she's referring to is with the usage, and this is really critical. I am a huge fan, especially if we're doing corporate direct, because guys, these days, a lot of times companies are going corporate direct away from ad agencies. And now we can utilize the opportunity to essentially get a piece of the media buy. So I base usage based on the media buy. So it's typically, approximately 10% of media buy on this job. I actually placed in here. This was actually not just print, but also video. If the commercial goes for television, then the usage is going to be available to be licensed at 15% of the media buy for the usage of the creative media for broadcast television, plus 10% of the media buy for media buying services to purchase the ad spots. And now we're at 25%, and I get another 10% kickback from my from Spectrum Reach, which is the place that's going to be running the ads. And so now effectively, I'm getting 35% on, say, when they do a media buy, it might be $1 million. So that becomes a lot of money. You can make another $350,000 on a job, even if the job was only $100,000 in the first place. So make sure your clients aren't going to take advantage of you, because they almost always will. Make sure that is absolutely key. So going forward here, I'd love to showcase the next panelist, Sean Ashanti. Are you on, Sean? There's a great Sean Ashanti. Now, Sean also deals with video and photography, and he has actually coached so many incredible photographers on guiding them to the next level. Sean, talk to us a little bit about that and about kind of like what you've done and what you've seen help photographers and kind of pitfalls or things that you think would benefit photographers that, you know, you don't feel like they're doing now, but things that they could do in 2021.
Sure, sure. Well, first things, I just want to kind of reiterate, just real quick what some of my, what Priscilla and Dan have said, simply because sometimes it doesn't always sink in. And because this is actually an issue that I've come across with a number of photographers. And, one thing that we do at the Photography Workshop series, and us consultants working with Kevin, is that once you're part of the team, you're part of the family, we stay on you. Because as Dan said, consistency in marketing is key. You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna reach out one time, 2 times. You need to constantly reach out. You have to try to make a plan, get those hits, make contact, say, I'm gonna contact X amount of people, this week. And if you need to make more calls, if you gotta stay on that phone, if you gotta send out more emails, do what you gotta do. As Priscilla said, you have to value, she said, you don't undervalue your work. A lot of people undervalue their work. And of course, you've probably seen on forums and everything else, people saying, oh my goodness, you're only charging XXX for what? You're ruining our business. And that's actually the absolute truth. So make sure that you don't undervalue your work. And that includes knowing your rights, your fees and whatnot, and also what the going rates are. But I'd say one of the most important things that a lot of photographers do is when I talk about undervaluing your work, they also underestimate themselves. Now, when I say underestimate themselves, like some people will be like, oh, wow, this is a big job. I don't know if I can do that. Or they'll just think let's say in terms of educating themselves. Because, I don't know lifestyle, or I don't know fashion, or I don't feel comfortable with, even architecture or product photography. There are a million resources out there, but when you have an opportunity to work with a mentor, like in this case, Kevin has literally taken people from here to the sky, to outer space from where they used to be. So don't underestimate yourself, because sometimes you just need some direction. And don't think that if I do this, will I be able to? No, if I do this, I can. There's been a number of photographers, like Kevin said, I'm a video guy. I'm a video guy, but honestly, I started off doing photography as well before I got majorly into video. And at one time I was like, photography, I don't know if that's my thing. Did some gigs, turned out well. And the irony, I'm just gonna say this from a business side standpoint. Whenever I do photography, lifestyle photography out here in New York, or even fashion, because New York, you got to do fashion if you're in New York. I always get requests for video. You have to be able to do video. From basic, if you don't know how to do video, no Somaya does video. In fact, I'd say with everything else, build yourself a team. Heck, you can find your team right here with us, but you need a team. Because if you don't do video yourself, you can still book those jobs. Remember, you are a corporation. You are a business. So with your photography, you should be able to upsell video. Because if you don't do video, somebody that does. It's all about styling, having proper wardrobe. All these things are things that you really should be thinking of. Because when you think about, again, underestimating or undervaluing your work, sometimes that comes from a place that you haven't taken those extra steps to have that photographic currency that people want to pay for. So just think about it this way. Think about what your dream client is, and then look at your body of work and be critical. And it's hard for a lot of people to be critical about their own work, but be critical and think to yourself, if I approach whoever it might be, let's say Vogue, would they book me right now based on what I have? And what can I do in order to get there? And you got to do whatever it takes to get there. You really do. Because if you're serious about this business, you already know that, to get to the top of the top, to get to those big campaigns, then you have to be good. You don't have to be good. Yes, you have to be great, but you can be great. And I think that underestimating yourself, undervaluing your work, and not having consistency are the biggest hurdles that people have getting into this business. And honestly, sometimes it just takes, pardon my French, but it takes somebody just to stay on your ass to make sure you stay on target and help you develop a marketing plan. So that's I'm gonna keep it short, but honestly, brass tacks, that's really what I see a lot of people struggling with. Just really those three things. And if they can knock that out and get their currency and, just really take their profession seriously, they're in there. They're in there. Like the number of people that we work with, Martika Gartman, David Geesbrick, Adam Freeman, the list goes on. The list goes on. Dare to be excellent. But be excellent, you got to put in work.
Wow, that's powerful. Sean, you're amazing. I'm impressed. That's the great Sean Ashanti. If you guys do want to work with him personally on your photographic business consult and do a strategy session, specify. Go ahead and mention that when you respond. But go ahead and fill that out. It's actually in the chat. If you guys haven't already, I know a ton of you guys have. We have like a numerous amount of people. I think we're just about at our limit. And also, I'd like to know from you guys on our poll, what future webinars would you guys be interested? We've done some amazing ones. We've done them on shooting at a French castle. A few weeks ago, I was actually shooting at my new French castle, and we did epic drone stuff, and we did a whole webinar on shooting stuff at the French castle. We did stuff on the business of photography, marketing. We've done it on, lighting. We've done stuff on fashion photography, lifestyle photography, swim photography. Do you want to know more about travel? Location lighting, what kind of stuff you guys interested in? I'd love to hear, because we like to schedule these webinars around topics you guys are interested in, and we've covered a lot of amazing ones this year, and we've really given a lot of free content, and because we're really motivated to help guide and help photographers, motivate them to the highest level. And just like Sean said, dare to be excellent. And I'm going to challenge you to do that. I'm going to challenge you guys to maximize your photographic career in 2021. I want you guys to develop your social media. I want you guys to develop your Instagram account, your LinkedIn account, your Facebook account. You guys have to dial in the branding. And if you need help with that, set up one of these photographic strategy sessions. We'll help you with that. We have to dial in your website, your printed portfolio, your materials, your print promos, your e-promos, and we have to get a systematic approach to contacting decision makers and booking them, because things are changing in 2021, and we need to make sure that you're at the cutting edge and you have content from your epic body of work where you have something to be really proud of that has impact and is going to draw the attention of the clients, whether you're a consumer or commercial photographer. So definitely start to think about that for the next year. And I want you guys to make sure you're going to invest a tremendous amount of time and energy in our marketing, because I can tell you what, some of the most successful photographers, they don't spend 100% of their time doing photography. They spend about 70 to 80% of their time doing the marketing. And I mean, that's just the way it is. Obviously, we would love to just be photographers, but that's just the way it's been. And the more that you do commercial photography and fashion photography, the more it becomes a larger percentage is marketing and promoting and business strategy and stuff like that, as opposed to actually shooting. To me, it's okay. It comes natural to me, and I'm a marketing expert in that and business expert. But for me, it's probably 90% marketing and sales. That's really what it is as a photographer. 10% shooting. The shooting's the payoff. That's the easy part. That's the fun part. But I don't pick up my camera for under $30,000. It's just not going to happen. It's just not worth my time. But if you guys have lower budgets, start thinking about charging more, because you're going to be perceived on that value. Now, clients, especially if it's consumer clients, if you're only shooting a wedding for $1,000, they're not going to respect you. My photographers that shoot $10,000 to $15,000 weddings, they respect that a lot more. That's really, really valuable. So guys, and also give yourselves a Christmas present. This 2021's coming up. I would definitely recommend investing in yourself and taking yourself to the next level in your photographic career, get involved in one of our epic experiences. I promise you at our photographic workshops, you'll never be disappointed. And I can guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt that you'll shoot the greatest images of your lifetime at the workshops, and you're going to catapult your photographic career. And if you listen to our guidance and you shoot these great images, you will, I promise you, make more money in your photographic career in 2021. So it's absolutely necessity to take you to the next level, and I will help you do that personally. All right, so is the great Jim Donahue on? I would love to hear from Jim. Jim is amazing. He's our Texan, and he's just one of the biggest sweethearts, total teddy bear. I love working with Jim. Our photographers absolutely rave about how great Jim is to work with, and he can help you guide your photographic business. So Jim, I'd love for you to talk about kind of some of the strategies that you talk to photographers about, and kind of like what you think that they need to improve in their portfolio and their business for 2021. I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
You bet. How's everybody doing? I'd like to be able to talk about something that's really important, and we've touched upon it tonight, and that is the utilization of both fashion and lifestyle to freshen up your portfolio. I think that if you really want to take your photography to the next level and put it in a situation to be able to create more revenue for your business, that's the direction to go in. I think Kevin was real clear about the fact that lifestyle is wonderful, but it is also what you get paid for. But in addition, fashion is wonderful, and it's what gets you exposure. Getting put into the magazines like Elle and Flaunt and Vanity Fair, these things really do make a difference. And when it comes to marketing, we can do the marketing plans, we can do everything that we can put together in conjunction with you, because that's what we're here for. That's what our staff does, is to help you get your marketing in line. But by freshening up your portfolio, nothing else will matter if you don't get the work done in your portfolio. So look at this kind of stuff. I mean, it is essentially between fashion and lifestyle, we can get you exposure and the jobs, getting you to work with Fortune 500 companies, to be able to have some of the best contracts you can imagine. And it's happened to our attendees from our workshops. Now, I know that that there are a lot of things you can do, but the most important thing is to freshen up your portfolio and to work with us to be able to get your business going down the road, so that we can get you in front of the right decision makers to really change your life, and to get some of these huge, and I mean huge, advertising campaigns. And that's where lifestyle is at. That's what's going to do it for you. And the fashion will get you in the magazines that will help market you, because part of this is marketing you and what you're capable of doing. And look at the imagery you get going through our workshops. So I know it's all about lots of different aspects of building your business, but the most important thing you can do for yourself and for your career is to freshen up your portfolio with a photographic workshop series. So let's see it happen, folks. We'll be talking to you. And thank you very much.
Oh, Jimmy, amazing. I love it. I love hearing from you. Thank you so much. And thank you for, my amazing photographic business consultants that have been on here. You guys have been incredible. I love hearing from you. And I know our photographers are really eager to talk to you personally. And I can tell you what, we're here for you. Our team, we have an amazing culture where I am absolutely wholeheartedly dedicated to your success. Me personally, and each and every person that works on my team. We are, I mean, just like Priscilla, she just has been coaching one of our photographers on bidding on this campaign free of charge. I mean, that was incredible. And you just don't get that kind of white glove service anywhere else, because for me, I want to make sure you're successful, because when you're successful, I become successful. I can't tell you how many opportunities I've had where photographers that I've coached and guided and have taken these workshops have become so successful, they land campaigns, and you know who they call? They call me because they want me to help them produce it. They call me because they want my video production team. They call me because they want my crew. I work with the executive creative director from L'Oreal on hair. I work with America's Next Top Models, makeup artists. I work with the top celebrity stylists in the world. So for them, they come to me. So I actually end up benefiting, and I start to have more opportunities, because you know what? You can never see other photographers as competitors. You should always see photographers as your allies, because we're all in the same boat together. And despite having only so many opportunities, only so many photographers can get those opportunities, we still, if you work together, you're going to be benefiting tremendously more and making more money. And I know a lot of my photographers that have taken workshops together, they love to band together, and they start passing jobs back and forth, and they end up booking more jobs because they're now a collaborative team. And I love that. And that's the way to do it in 2021. Don't see other photographers as your competition. In fact, I've always dreamed that one day I would bid on an ad campaign and I would bid against one of my attendees. And unfortunately, it's never happened. I've never actually bid against one of my photographers, because you know what? There's so many opportunities out there that there's tons to go around. So I want you guys to realize it is a challenging business. It is challenging, and it's changing dramatically, but there's plenty of opportunity. And if you're a consumer photographer, I don't want to see $1,500 weddings, $3,000 weddings, $5,000 weddings. It's not even worth your time. You know, I recommend you shouldn't be charging less than $10,000 for a wedding. And I can show you how to do it. And if you guys don't know or you want to learn, I can guide you. We have an epic Napa Valley workshop specifically on high-end wedding photography and portrait photography to get you to the point where you're charging $10,000 to $15,000 a wedding. If you're a portrait photographer and you're only making $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, I can help get you double of what you're earning now by just tweaking the body of work, the branding, and the marketing, and the target audience that you're going after. We can help you. We can help all aspects of photographers. I actually been speaking to some architectural and industrial photographers this last week. And the most important thing for that, because those are industries that have just kind of collapsed, is that got to have lifestyle. Without lifestyle, you're never going to make it real money. You got to have lifestyle photography with industrial. You have to have lifestyle photography with architectural. That's what big clients are looking for. That's what they're all going to pay for. And that even automotive, Mario Gomez at Sapient Razorfish was talking about a $750,000 job he worked with Dave Hill. He hired Dave Hill on 7 of those last year. And it was just a lifestyle shoot with a van, with a family. And hey, at the Newport Beach workshop, we're shooting a van with a family and lifestyle in an even better, more high-end way than what he shot for that $750,000 campaign. So are you ready to take yourself to the next level? Because we're here and we're ready for you. We're going to guide you. We're going to help you. And I cannot wait to see what you come up with for 2021. So thank you guys. I can't wait to see you personally at one of these epic experiences. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to set up an invite, the invites in the chat. Make sure to get in there. And if you guys do want to sign up for these workshops, they're all for the next 6 months. They're all almost sold out. So if you want to get in, I think there's only like 1 spot left in each of the upcoming workshops. And then they're going to be completely sold out because we're very, very selective. So guys, make sure to sign up now. And if you are ready to do it, go ahead and and fill out one of those consult forms and one of our and do it for today. And contact us. You can also email me directly at kevin@photoworkshopseries.com. And if you guys are ready to sign up, let me know, and we will help guide you and take you to the next level of your photographic potential. All right, guys, take care. I can't wait to see you again. We're going to do another epic webinar in January, and we have some really incredible surprises coming up. From the absolutely spectacular French Castle experience, shooting with supermodels from Paris. And we have shooting with drones, shooting with mind-blowing content. We have some really, really special stuff coming up in 2021 that we've never had before. And I'm really excited because we are going to do stuff that's never been done before. And we're always trying to better ourselves each and every time and create the greatest content we've ever could even dream of photographically. And if you guys are interested in doing something like this, contact us. We'll hook you up and we'll give you an experience of a lifetime. All right, guys, have a great one. And I can't wait to see you again. And let's have an amazing 2021. Have an incredible Christmas and Hanukkah. and give yourself a gift, guys. Start investing in yourself, because it's going to pay out, and it's going to be the best investment in yourself is going to pay out, and you're going to actually end up making more money, not working as much of a hustle. It's going to be better for you, better for your family, and better for everybody involved. Take care, guys.